the growth of the startup ecosystem in Cambodia. But one thing I think in terms of valuation, if the business only focus on Cambodian market, you won't get big valuation.
Sophorth, thank you so much for coming on to Rising Giants today. Max and I are very excited to be diving into your business, Morakot, and to also learn about your experiences that you've had across your journey so far in your career. I think a great place to start is if you could tell us about what you were doing prior to Morakot and what kind of experiences you were having that led to founding the business.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here this morning during the podcast. My experience is like mainly in financial industry, microfinance. I've been working there for like almost 10 years as a head of department, IT department, and I also responsible for business development as well. And prior to joining the MFI, the microfinance institution, I was working in an NGO, actually the non-profit organization, and also, but the experience that was just mainly IT. Only when I came to the MFI, and then I start learning about how microfinance work, how lendings work, and then I also have some experience in business development. Yep. And that's my prior experience.
Great. And in what years in what year before? Because Morakot was founded in 2015. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, great. And if I'm correct in saying that you were working for Vision Fund Cambodia before, what was it that you were doing there? And could you tell us a little bit more about your time there?
Yeah, that was mainly taking care of the IT department, and we have quite a number of projects, especially for at the time when I joined them. They just started implement the core banking software for the microfinance business, and it was quite relatively very new to me. First thing I had to understand how the microfinance business work, how lending work, and also at the same time I try to catch up with the core banking software, how's it look like, and the implementation was quite tough, because it's not here that we could find the supplier or vendors here. We get it from the terminals, and you heard of the terminals core banking software. They are from Europe, from Swiss, and because Vision Fund is a network of MFIs, they got 36 offices across the globe, and so they're trying to having a standard software that can be implemented across the MFIs across the globe. And then Cambodia was chosen one of the country that go with the implementation of the core banking, and I was in charge to lead the project. And not many resources available here in Cambodia, so we start having some consultant from India and also from the terminal office to join us, and that was the experience I had that brought me to have a lot of knowledge and know-how in terms of how the core banking work, and the implementation it took us like almost a year to get things up and run, and until then we also start to implement in other countries as well. So I was assigned to taking care of other implementation in Philippines, and also I spent some time in India as well, because we have a successful implementation in Cambodia. Then they replicate the same implementation technique to other country, and so I would say that majority of my experience is more on getting the core banking software implemented for the MFI, and that's what I learned the most.
Did you find going to India and the Philippines being a very formative experience, being able to transfer what you learned in those different countries and different environments to be able to implement into Morakot?
Uh, they are quite a bit different in terms of how things would work there. What we understand, what we know in Cambodia is not like 100% actually really work for Philippines. Like Philippines, they have the different geographical, they have different islands. And it was back then one of the main challenges is the connectivity. They don't really have a good connectivities over there, and I remember it's about like 15 years ago. It's quite long, and so the implementation that did not go really well because of the connectivity, and the software is limited to only if you have that software hosted anywhere, like you have a central server, and then every branch office need to connect to the server. And another thing is about the resource, the talents, the people who work in that MFI. They need to have a project team, a proper project team to handle the project. And and in terms of the uh, internal IT resource team and also the operation team as well. They kind of like had different resource than what we compare to Cambodia. And when I went to India, India is another story. When we talk about India, it's like they are huge, right? But in terms of the microfinance business for vision funds specifically, they're not really huge. They start with like a simple, small MFI, and they don't really have a adequate resource to handle the project. So it's quite challenging, and it took us some time to get things together.
Yeah, that I feel like that sounds like, in each of those experiences in both the Philippines and India, it was very different challenges, different opportunities to learn. And comparatively to Cambodia, what were the main challenges that you were seeing in the country when implementing the service here?
In Cambodia,
Yes, in Cambodia.
number one is about the language. The
Mm,
language, because we got consultants from other country, like from I remember the consultant is from Africa, and
mm,
for me myself as a project manager, as a head of IT, I'm trying to coordinate, between the consultants and our users here, that
mm.
trying to collect information and business requirement as much as possible and communicate back to the consultant. That's number one challenge. And during at the time back then, not many people understand the digital transformation. We're trying to convert everything, the manual process, back to the system. There are people trying to replicate what they're doing manually. They need a system do the same way they do manual. And I'm trying to explain them that if if you try to get a washing machine and you try to you want the washing machine to do the same way you are doing the washing the manually, it's not gonna happen. So we have to think in a different way, digital way. There are things that need to be automated. There are processes that need to be cut, need to be re-engineered to make it work in a systematic way. Because if people just want to follow the manual process that they are doing, there's no point that you get a system, you get an automation. There are some a process that you need to cut off.
Yeah, it sure sounds like there are some challenges that could be frustrating at the time, but I guess a bit serendipitous because that led you to founding or co-founding Morakot in 2015. So what was it like starting the business, and or maybe even what was the last straw that decided that helped you decide that you wanted to take that step into entrepreneurship and co-founding the company?
Yeah, actually, I would say it was the right time when we decided to start and co-found Morakot. Not many of the MFI here in Cambodia, they have a proper system. And I talked to different people who in the same industry. I know a lot of people who work in other MFI, because the MFI microfinance business in Cambodia, we like a small close loop. We know almost everyone And because we do have the annual event that we join together, so we talk to each other. And then I realized that there's a huge demand that people are looking for a software, a system that could help them, who could help them in terms of like more on improve the operation, make it more productive, make it more effective, something like that. And people are challenging, to work with any software vendor from outside. Like I said previously, it mainly about the language, it's about the communication, and also the understanding how the project implementation the process. Uh, we don't really have a proper or adequate resource here who can handle those implementation. So we need a strong team, a strong IT team who could work with those consultants. And then I see, what if we have a local company who could do the same, could provide the solution to them, and we speak the same language, who understand the local business process, local, I mean the microfinance process here, and also the regulatory requirements for our central bank, because in terms of the microfinance regulatory requirement here in Cambodia, quite strong. We have NBC as a regulatory body. They're doing really good, and so we see a lot of opportunity here. And then I talked to my co-founder. So actually we the other two guys who my co-founder, we were working in the same company back then, in MFI. But two of them, me, myself, and other my CTO now, we are in IT, and we get another one from the business side. So we try to get somebody who could complement to us. And so with this opportunity, I talked to quite a number of MFI people, and they say, yeah, why not? If you could do the same thing, and you are here in Cambodia, eh, they happy to cooperate. And then I decided to quit my day job. I'm the only one who left the job first to start the business. And a year a years later, we were able to get some client, because I remember that we spent 8 months to do the product development, the system development, and then we get our first client. you know so 2 years later, we got our CTO join me as full-time, in full-time, when we able to pay our team. And so starting from then, we get some more clients. For us, it's because this kind of business is a B2B. And if you look at the number of clients, it's not like 100, it's not like 1,000. We only like around 50 of them
Mm.
at the moment. So um, at our first three clients, we were able to broke the even. So we
Mm.
make profit from them. And then we keep growing our business, from the revenue that we get from the client. And then we keep hiring more people, expanding our office, things like that.
And before diving into some of the challenges faced in the early days of running the business, it would be great to talk to provide a little bit of an idea of the landscape of MFI in Cambodia for the audience. Maybe if you could give us some of the details behind the number of MFIs, maybe the specific customer that you're looking, or the specific customer that you're looking to acquire, or excuse me, that you're looking to onboard. That would be great to provide that framework.
Uh, our main customer is more on the MFI, and the MFI, we also look at a different size as well. The MFI who have enough budget and also willing to have a proper system. And so our main focus is the only one product that we have. Yeah, we're not a software company who doing like general software development or things like that. So we built our only one product, the banking software, and we pitched this software to those MFI that we started with. And so the MFI itself, we also um, look at how the team is formed as well, because there are some MFI they are just too small. They don't really have like not single IT people. That would quite challenging. But for us, we look into an MFI who at least they got an IT guy who could understand, who could talk to us, you know, and he also in charge in terms of the software implementation.
And how many MFIs are there today in Cambodia?
Today, if you look at the registered one, uh, it's like more than 80 MFI, 80 MFI registered one. Yeah,
Okay.
who get the license from the central bank. But during at the time that we found it, there's only around 50 of them. So keep growing number of MFI. In Cambodia, we have like different levels when we talk about the MFI business. There's a microfinance and also another lower tier. We call them credit operator, and they like hundreds of them.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay.
Almost 200 of them are registered in the central bank. And the upper tier from the MFI, you got the deposit taking, we call it MDI. This uh, that
Mhm.
MFI who could take deposit, and then you got commercial bank, and there are different entity that doing similar thing like the leasing company. So also one of our client as well.
And the just a quick follow up on that, the MDIs are normally like 100 million plus, right,
Hmm.
in assets.
Yep.
What would you say the average like assets is per MFI? You said that there's 80 in total, but what would when you talk to the average one, where do they kind of land at?
The Because if you look at MDI and the actually MDI, they stay in between MFI and the commercial bank.
Mm.
There are some overlap with business in terms of the asset side, in terms of the product and services, and in terms of the number of total size of the asset or portfolio, I don't really
Mm.
clear about that.
Fair enough.
Okay. And building the business in the early years, building the team, the product, there must have been a lot of lessons learned and challenges that you faced. Are there a couple that stand out to you that you would like to share? Whether that's lesson learned or a specific challenge that you remember that you can always look back on and appreciate the effort that it took to get past it.
I think the first challenge is about trust, because when you first came out as a technology company and it is local, people don't really at first accept it, what you offer to them. They might have some doubt that this software really work, or this software can be compared to other software that they imported from India, they got it from Europe. So people have a lot of doubt that this software really work and how quality it is. So for me, number one is about trust, and number two is about the resource. Because we started with those three co-founder, but we need some other team like the software developer and some other people to join us as well. And not many of our talent they have a prior experiences in developing the banking software. So they just purely a software developer, and we had to train them first, getting them understand how the microfinance business work, how the accounting works, things like that. At the 3 months time in training before they are ready to do uh, the the coding, they start to coding for the software. And that the challenges. And the third challenges we had was the funding. And because back then I don't really know if my type of business, they call it like fintech, fintech is the new term later on when we identify we have startup, we have fintech and things like that. But during back then we just realized ourselves that we're just a tech company. That's it. And so it there is not many in terms of startup ecosystem back then. There's no like interested investor or whatever. So we just start bootstrap it with our own money, our own savings, and so for us, we started, organically. We get our first 2 or 3 clients, and the revenue from the client that pay us on a regular basis, we take that revenue to hire more people. So we grow business from that revenue, organically ourselves. So I think this is the first 3 challenges that we overcome. And in terms of the lesson learned, I think one of the big lesson learned for us is you know, if you believe in building a product, and the product should be the product that people are willing to buy. It's not the product that you are happy with, you love it. It's not just like that. That is just one perspective. It's just one but other side is that we have to think that that product is actually fulfill the customer satisfaction, the customer willing to buy it or not, something like that. So building a product that you love, and also the product that the customer love as well. That is one of the thing. And another thing, that starting a startup, one of the lessons learned we had is that there are people, especially for the people who want to start a tech startup, they don't really put 100% of their effort on building a good quality of product, and they're not really 100% sure on what they're doing, and people not really spend like 100% of their time on it. They only end up doing it during the weekend, meet up the team at the coffee shop, something like that. And what I noticed that only the first few months they have like full of energy doing it, and then later on, the team not able to to commit to get the project done, to get the product done. So I would say that if you believe in something, just put 100% of your energy on building it, because I experienced myself that if we only do during the weekend or during like after office hour, during the evening, it's not gonna work. Yeah. So put 100% effort on it and building it, get it finished and deliver. The first thing. And second thing is that it's about the funding as well. There are people who want to build things, and they start like collecting money every month, from the shareholder, every month or every couple of months. But for me, I do different thing. I say that, okay, let's set aside the budget for like 2 or 3 years, and then how much would that cost, and then we put the money in for like 3 years time, so that for me myself, who lead the development team, we only focus on developing the product, developing a good product, because we know for sure that we have enough money to run for at least 2 years or 3 years ahead. Not like every month you have to run for the money, talking to people and trying to get funded, so it's like it's a distract from what you are doing. So number one, for me, the big lesson learned is about the effort and commitment, and number two is about getting the funding committed at least like 2 years or 3 years, so that you are more focused on building the good product.
Yeah, across both the challenges and the lessons learned, I mean, there are a lot of things to dive into. I think one of the first challenge that you mentioned, which is local businesses having a bit of a harder time trusting a local created product. Why would you say that's the case? What is the reasoning for that?
One of the reasons is that in terms of the tech, the IT in Cambodia, we were relatively very new comparing to India, comparing to other countries. And back then we don't really have a lot of local product that introduced to the market. Not many of them. Mostly they have got a solution that people imported from other country and sell here in Cambodia. So so people kind of like, this is really new. And the microfinance business is just like a banking business. They're more related to the money. You keep track of the management of the lendings, all of that. So it's a critical system. You can make a single mistake, like even a single cent different, it would make a lot of issue in the system, because of the lending system. And it also tied up to the regulatory requirement, which is very strict in Cambodia. So you have to like 100% compliant to what our central bank require. And so it's a critical system. And for the tech industry, it's relatively very new. And so people don't really have like first time, they don't accept what we're doing.
Yeah, so it was a bit of overcoming those barriers of, at the time, even though it's a more recent word, but having that fintech product in an emerging market. And so at the time, what was some of the strategies that you implemented to help build that trust or increase the awareness of your solution for your customers?
Uh, the first thing is about the awareness that I make myself. I make myself in a number of events. I talk to different people so that people know me. That I'm not the tech guy from other industry. I'm only a tech guy who actually work and have many year experiences in that industry in microfinance business. And that's number one. And number two is that we have the strategy to let them try first. Our first and second client, we sold the product to them with very much in a discount rate, so that let them try first. And once they try it, they start to believe, hey, this product actually work, actually comparable to the product they imported. And we even do better because we know the local requirement here. Because I can explain to you that most of the banking software that they build out there, they are not specifically built for the microfinance business. They build it for the bank, which is huge corporate, And when it comes to microfinance, there will be a lot of customization, a lot of uh, development to fit the local requirement here. So when we talk about customization, and we take a big system and you do customization to fit a smaller uh, business model here in Cambodia for the microfinance business. Every time you make a modification, you end up with a lot of issue, a lot of bugs, because it's not a standard package that already been working well in other country. So when it comes to customization, you will create a lot of bug and a lot of things issue, and it took time as well. I would say that on average, the implementation would take like from 6 months to 3 years for the software implementation. And this is one of the challenges that if you take the software from other countries from outside. So for us, we overcome this issue by understanding the local requirements. So we build a product which is specifically just for microfinance business.
So I'm curious about about kind of getting more up to the present day for Morakot. How is like the business that you've built in Cambodia going to be like translated to other countries in the region? Like, I think that's on your roadmap for the next few years to expand out.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, like, yeah, how does that? Yeah, how is it? Like, how is it different in, I don't know, somewhere like Indonesia? Does Indonesia also have lots of microfinance institutions like Cambodia? So,
I would say that back in Indonesia, they don't call themselves microfinance,
yeah.
but actually they are microfinance. They do micro lending, and they call themselves as the rural bank. And there are 26 of them,
Okay.
26 2,600, 2,600
Wow.
of them in Indonesia. And so for Morakot, for now, we're not just here in Cambodia. We do have some clients in Myanmar,
Okay.
and we got other 2 clients in Thailand as well. So
Yep.
this year we're looking at getting our foot in Indonesia.
Okay.
And for us, our strategy is that we expand to any emerging market would have similar ability to Cambodia, like emerging market,
Right.
microfinance business. So we're going to do the same thing what we do here in Cambodia.
Okay. I'm just curious. You mentioned Myanmar there. Obviously, it's a bit of a sensitive market at the moment. What is business like there? And are the microfinance companies doing okay? Or are you seeing more demand for these kinds of services in a country like that?
It, it's hard to say that at the moment, but before COVID and before the coup came,
Yeah.
it was okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the microfinance is keep growing and going really well.
Right.
But because of the new regime,
Right.
the new government, the coup, and so things like messed up a little bit. So slow down,
Yeah.
and in terms of economy itself, it's been affected.
Okay.
So for us, we only have 4 clients there in Myanmar, and we haven't grown that to another new client just yet. We'll wait and see how things get back to normal. But for now, I think there's some improvement. So when time ready, we'll go back there again. But for us, we shift our focus now to Indonesia and Philippines,
To
which is
Philippines. Yeah.
our next market.
Okay. And what you also mentioned Thailand is, would you say that the market in Thailand for these kinds of products, has it kind of reached a level of maturity whereby it's mostly like the banks are like dominating the market, and in those scenarios, do MFIs kind of they get deep, like they almost they get more consolidation right over time, I presume.
Yes, you're right. In Thailand, they are completely different from Cambodia,
Mm,
Myanmar, Indonesia.
mm,
Mostly, in terms of financial service, run by the big bank,
yeah.
and they don't have many banks just like in Cambodia.
Mm,
Only I remember just like 4 banks, big one.
four big ones. Yeah.
And but for us in Thailand, we are not taking in any microfinance there, but there's another segments of financial service that we do. They call themselves the leasing company and then high purchase
Mm,
for buying motorbike, car on installment and stuff
yeah.
like that. And there are such markets and demands out there.
Mm,
So our first 2 clients in Thailand, they're in the leasing business.
mm.
So
Okay. And so I guess with Indonesia and the Philippines, is what was the reason for deciding on those markets? I mean, you explained a bit about Indonesia. There's 2,600, so it's obviously like a huge market. What about the Philippines that you just mentioned?
yeah, Philippines, the similarity is that they do have a rural bank as well.
Mm,
Yeah, and Philippines also another huge market for us.
mm,
And there's a similarity in terms of they do micro lending,
yeah.
and they also have the what they call the credit union,
Mm,
something like that. Yeah, it's something that we can tap into.
okay. And so what? So in order to expand, to go regional
Mhm.
for Morocco, what do you like? What will the resources? What resources will be required to do that? Will you be doing a fundraise in order to scale and build out the teams there? What does that kind of look like?
For expanding, first we started with our own resource,
Mm,
our own cash here in Cambodia, the revenue we have. But we're not like going all in one shot there like Indonesia.
mm,
We started like looking for a local partner there. So they will be one of our partner,
right.
local partner that could bring our solution to sell in the local market. Somebody who understands the local requirement,
Mm,
somebody who speaks the local language, because there are different perspectives in different countries. Like Indonesia market, the Indonesian people they prefer to work with the local people.
right.
Um, especially local people. So we're trying to get that way in setting up our own office, just Morakot
Yeah.
here from Cambodia, something like that. So we, rather than to have a JV with a local uh, 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 company who already in the market, who understand the market quite well, and they also have a local team,
Mm.
the support team, also the development team, and so we just kind of like share, revenue sharing model,
Right.
with them. That is what we're doing.
That seems like a smart approach, yeah, to kind of expand in a more lean way
Hmm.
uh, via joint ventures. What's it been like trying to find that kind of partner? Um, is it easy to kind of build those relationships and find people that you want to work with, or do you have to kind of fly there and go and meet them, or can it all be
Uh,
done remotely?
yeah, it kind of not really easy to get that kind of partner.
Mm,
So actually, for now, Indonesia, we got one,
mm,
and that from the referral from one of our board
yeah.
MSP
Oh, nice. Yeah.
team, that they've been working with them quite some time, a few years ago, and then we just keep in touch. And that
Yeah.
guy, he know the industry and the local market really well, so we just keep in touch, and we try to approach him again. Seems like he's still interested in exploring this opportunity,
Mm,
and he also has his own local companies there.
mm,
So we said, hey, why not just get the product? We already have the product, and you just help us sell, and we can split the revenue with you guys. They got a local team,
mm,
and first we start with like for them, we only need to have a local support team, um, and sales teams over there. But in terms of the development team, the tech team will be mainly based in
Singapore.
Cambodia.
Yeah.
And for the implementation, we will have we spend some time doing the implementation remotely.
Mm,
Things can be done mostly remotely. Only if we need to do some training and doing the UAT test,
mm.
then we will fly our people from Cambodia to the site, to the Indonesia, and then we fly back, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, just out of curiosity, like how many? I mean, obviously in Cambodia, I believe you've reached the majority market share. What about in the region? Who are some of the kind of key competitors that you'd be up against when you're pitching and selling
Hmm.
this product?
You mean in Cambodia or outside?
More so in the region. Yeah, are
In
there
the
any
region.
big companies that are approaching this on a regional level in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, actually, they do have some other players that going to this market. Even Indonesia, they got their own local team,
Mm,
local company that doing similar thing to us.
mm,
And so we're trying to differentiate ourselves as well, how our product would be different,
mm,
and giving significant different comparing to a local product.
mm.
We do some market assessment and also the pricing structure that could actually work in the local market. And also there are one of the main competitors we do we have is the a company from Africa, Mozoni. They're also doing really good as well. They have quite a number of clients in Myanmar, but I'm not really sure if they also get into Indonesia.
Mm. Okay. Great. So yeah, well, excited to see that how that the expansion plays out. And will that be the same approach for the Philippines? It's also going to be this sort of more finding a partner, and and kind of taking this more lean approach, not setting up a full on office.
Yeah, the same approach
Yeah.
that we would do, because setting up your own office right away will spend a lot of money,
Right.
and first thing we need to do a POC as well. Kind
Right.
of like let's start first or two clients and giving them a big discount. I just want to make sure that our product fit into the local market,
Right.
get them used to, get them try our product first.
And then you have sort of case studies that then you can present to the
Exactly, and then
future
you can go to the
client.
third client, the fourth client,
Right.
become more easier. And there's another little trick there, because if you approach one by one, it's gonna take you time. So what we do is that we try to get connection with the association, the similar thing in Cambodia. You got Cambodian Microfinance Association. Get connection into association so that you have like a number of people as a microfinance as a members there. So this is another way of getting to the market, and then we can run a workshop or conference so that all of those people and MFI join the event. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, well, shifting gears a little bit, we also wanted to have some time to talk also about your beyond the kind of the products that you're selling to microfinance institutions, the core banking systems. Also wanted to talk about this new launch that you're doing in Cambodia in 2024, or have sort of done a initial launch in 2023. Is your buy now pay later platform Mora?
Yep.
So maybe you could explain a little bit more about that, how that idea came about, and what your milestones and goals are for that for the year ahead.
Yep. Thanks, Mark, for asking this. Actually, the BNPL, the Buy Now Pay Later service that we just launched in July last year. And actually, we've been working on this like almost 3 years, building the platform and the product. The idea behind this is to helping our client get more client. So our purpose is that we just build the platform, the technology platform, that we're going to work with our client, the microfinance institutions, as a financial partner. And then another stakeholder with the platform is the retails shop or any merchants that either they're online, they have a physical store. And so we're trying to get the customer who actually want to buy something, but they don't really have enough cash to pay for that. So we actually we're going to give them pay it on installment, and we try to not to charge any interest from them. But instead of we're going to charge the commission fee from the merchants. And from the funding side, we're going to connect to our local financial institution who are going to disburse that loans to the merchants. So the merchant will get paid instantly, and you see that the consumer, the customer, will owe to the Mora platform, the BNPL platform, and we collect from them on monthly basis, 3 months or 4 months. It depends on the option they choose during the purchase. And so mainly we're trying to connect our consumer with the retailer and the bank. So for Mora BNPL, we're just the platform in the middle, trying to get them work together.
Okay, and what's it been like, the the adoption of that so far? What have been some of the challenges that you've noticed when trying to kind of get this product out to the market? I think for Cambodia, the concept of buy now pay later is still like an early concept. And I think even in a lot of developed countries, it's still like one of these things that is like getting going, right? You've got like Afterpay in Australia or Klarna in Europe that have, obviously done very well. But yeah, just curious, like, how it's received and how people kind of understand it. How can you communicate it so that it sounds like a better alternative to, let's say, an interest, getting a loan with interest.
Yeah, actually, you're right when you talk about the BNPL. It's relatively very new here in Cambodia markets comparing to other developed country. And so our traction so far is we have like more than 54 merchants on our system with like 100 plus of physical store as well on the platform. But in terms of the number of clients, not really have a good catch up, and one of the challenges we have is that people really don't understand how that would be different from the traditional loans. And another thing, one of the barrier is that because the BNPL loan size is that quite small, but in Cambodia we don't have that kind of regulations that allow the fintech company doing underwriting and approve that loans by ourselves. So we end up working with other financial institutions to do that. And the other microfinance institution required by our regulator, you need to follow the strict process. You need to check the credit bureau. You need to have proper proof of income. Process, and this it end up with some challenges in terms of onboarding the customer.
Right.
I would say that out of 100 customer applications, only 10 of them get accepted and approved by the bank, by the MFI that work with us. So I see a lot of frustration when they signed up. So people say that only $500 loans, and we need to check CBC, and they get their name on the CBC. And if anything a little bit, if they make any mistake or they late for any payment, they will spoil their credit bureau score. So it would affect for their future loan when they approach other bank or MFI. So there are people who not really willing to sacrifice having their name on the CBC with a smaller offer, smaller loan size from the BNPL.